Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Mad Meta Magic, where we try to make the magic meta mad. Now, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is I recorded a Mad Meta Magic that was supposed to go up today, and I got through the whole league, did it in one shot, felt alright about it. The deck wasn't that great. I'm not going to say what the deck was, but I went back to review the footage so that I knew what I needed to process, and the video recording failed midway through the second match. So I wasted about an hour and a half of my life and didn't notice that I lost all of that footage. So now I need to record a whole new video, and it's twice the work for half the game. The good news is we're playing Dragonstorm again because I really wanted to edit this deck since I played it. Now, let me explain the changes from the last video, and if you haven't seen the last video on Dragonstorm, go check it out. It was only posted like a couple of days prior to this one. It's definitely worth watching. This deck completely beat my expectations, so go do that first if you haven't. Otherwise, I'll get right into the explanations. Number 1, I trimmed to 3 Dragonstorm. This is a card we really don't ever want to draw more than one of, and with 4 in the deck, we were drawing multiple, and it felt pretty bad. So I trimmed down to 3. I also trimmed down to 3 Ironcrag Feet because we were drawing this card slightly too frequently and not able to take advantage of it all of the time. And I cut to 3 Goblin Electromancer, so we're playing 3 Brawl, 3 Electromancer. Just because it felt like we had slightly too many cost reducers in the deck. Now, as an adjustment for those, I added 2 Peer Through the Depths, which is a card that digs 5 cards deep looking for an instant or sorcery specifically and shuffles the rest of the cards you look through to the bottom. It's also an arcane instant, meaning we might splice a Desperate Ritual onto it if we have enough mana, just to get an additional ritual when we're comboing off. And I added a 4th Sea Beyond because this card is actually really important in this deck. Now, so we trimmed some of our top-end spells and added more consistency tools because I feel like that's what this deck needed the most. I am reluctant to cut the Niv-Mizzet Perrin out of the main deck, even though he doesn't necessarily contribute to the primary game plan, and that slot could be like a 3rd Peer, another Cantrip, another Electromancer. He felt really strong versus control, and I'm going to keep him in the deck. Now, explanation as to the sideboard changes. I've actually upped to a 3rd Niv-Mizzet Perrin because that card feels so crazy insane that we absolutely need him. I kept 3 Lightning Bolt, 2 Abrade, and I'm keeping the defense grids. The fact of the matter is, if we can stop our opponent from casting a single counterspell on our turn, we just win. Like, there's nothing our opponent can do about it. So, defense grid in this match, in any matchup where our opponent is going to have counterspells or removal that could be cast on our turn, is just going to be so much more powerful than trying to play Remand or trying to play Mana Leak or Mystical Dispute. I don't think it's worth it. Yes, I know we're playing cost reducers, and yes, this deck kind of lends itself to counterspells, but I really feel like defense grid's the way to go with this deck. We also have Tormod's Crypt for a little bit of grave hate versus an opponent. We have a single Repeal and a single Echoing Truth to answer problematic permanents as we're comboing off. And yeah, I think that's really it. Let's go ahead and fire up some more Dragonstorm, and hopefully we also do well this time around. So without any further ado, I am going to jump into a Modern League. Alrighty, round 1, here we go, Dragonstorm. We are on the draw. I did not swap out the fast lands, so I need to be real careful. Honestly, with 4 cantrips, I think I can keep this hand. Opponent starts Power Plant into an Expedition map. We untap, draw Electromancer, play Spire Bluff Canal, Serum Visions. We draw Manamorphose, Electromancer to the bottom, Spire Bluff Canal to the top, pass the turn. Opponent plays an Urza's Tower, so they are going to have turn 3 Tron. We untap, draw Spire Bluff Canal. So, we can play Electromancer, or we can play a couple of cantrips. Honestly, I want to play the cantrips. Sleight of Hand. I will take an Ironcrag Feat. And then Serum Visions. I'd really like to draw a land. There's a land. Peer Through the Depths to the bottom. Manamorphose on top. Pass the turn. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have Tron into Karn. They get an Urza's Mine. Untap. They play Urza's Mine. Karn liberated. They're going to make us exile a card from our hand? I don't know if that's right. We'll give them Sleight of Hand. We untap, draw Manamorphose, and I think we're just going to go for it. Blue-red. Pyretic Ritual. Manamorphose into blue-red. Desperate Ritual. We are at 6 mana. Manamorphose into blue-blue. Oh, I could play Niv Mizzet, but he doesn't do anything. My opponent just downticks to kill him. And I can't play Niv Mizzet and a spell, unfortunately. Do we just wait? Or do I cast Niv Mizzet? If I cast Niv Mizzet, my opponent's going to know something's up. So we're just going to pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a power plant. 9 mana. This is probably a Walking Ballista. Okay, it's Ugin. Opponent upticks on Goblin Electromancer. Takes a land. Alright, I don't think we can actually combo now. We draw Sea Beyond. Play a mountain. Sea Beyond. Shuffle Niv Mizzet back into the deck. Pass the turn. Opponent shoots us with Ugin. Upticks taking a land. We'll give them Spirebluff Canal. They play Wormcoil. They're still probably Green Tron, but... Okay. Yep. The good news is, Green Tron should be beatable. I'm going to bring in 2 Abrades and an Echoing Truth. And I'm going to cut 1 Pier, 1 Sleight of Hand, and 1 Sea Beyond. We're going to try it like this. No other adjustments. Yeah, I think if I had added more blue mana off of those Manamorphoses, or off of the first Manamorphose, I think it was, there was a way I think I could have cast Niv Mizzet and then gotten a couple of draws, and that could have mattered a lot. So opponent knows we're Storm, and they know that we're not quite regular Storm because they saw us cast Sea Beyond, but we did not reveal any Dragonstorm-related information. So hopefully we can just get them. I would love to play first. Lots of cost reducers, but only 1 mana. I think we got a dump for a hand that's got cantrips. This is not going to work. Alright, we'll keep this one. I've got to put back 2 cards, so I'm going to put back Sleight of Hand and Steam Vents. We're going to start Scalding Tarn. Fetch with Scalding Tarn, get a Steam Vents untapped. Serum Visions. We draw Manamorphose. Fiery Islet. I think we put both of these cards to the bottom. Pass the turn. We need to draw a cost reducer. Hopefully our opponent does not have, like, the Tron hand. They did keep 7. They start Urza's Mine into an Expedition map. Alright. We untap and draw a Manamorphose. I'm going to cycle 1 Manamorphose here. Okay, we get a Pyretic Ritual. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Urza's Tower. They've got the Tron hand. We untap. Another Manamorphose. Alright. Blue-red. Cycle another Manamorphose. Blue-red. Well, we've almost got enough rituals to go off, but we are now holding a Tarka, which does make it harder. Opponent is going to go for Tron. Hopefully they have like a Wormcoil and not a Karn. Although Karn is the more likely of the 2 for them to have. Okay, they play Karn, Great Creator. They're just going to get Trinisphere and it's game over. Or Liquid Metal Coating. Honestly, either one is bad for us here. Yeah, we can't beat a Trinisphere. Yeah. We had to mulligan too low. That's just unfortunate. We should normally have a very good matchup versus Tron because, in theory, our combo is fast enough with the rituals. We just didn't get a good enough hand. So, alright, round 2. Here we go. I would like to play first. This hand seems okay. We will keep. Start Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Forest into a Utopia Sprawl. Alright, let's see what they name. Red. So they are probably Ponza. Fetch Scalding Tarn, get a Steam Vents. We untap. We draw Spirebluff. Play Spirebluff. Cast Sea Beyond. Put back Steam Vents. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills. Cracks Wooded Foothills. Gets another Forest. Plays Blood Moon. Well, the good thing is, we don't actually need blue mana. Not for a bit, anyway. And if we draw a Dragonstorm, we should just have enough mana to cast it. Alright, opponent plays an Arbor Elf. We untap. We draw Sea Beyond. Manamorphose into blue-blue. Sea Beyond. Putting back Scalding Tarn. Cast Sleight of Hand. Take Electromancer. Play Steam Vents. Pass the turn. Well, the good news is if we draw Dragonstorm, we definitely combo off instantly. Opponent plays a mountain. We're going to hide this island until we have to play our Electromancer. They play an Elder Gargaroth. Ooh, scary. They hit us for 1. We go to 18. Untap. Draw an island. Play Fiery Islet. Pass the turn. I'm just going to continue playing out red lands until we draw something we need to cast with blue mana. Opponent plays a Glorybringer, so we're getting hit for 11 this turn. We need to draw something. Okay, opponent makes a beast. We take 11, go to 7. Untap, draw Sleight of Hand. Alright, here we go. Sleight of Hand. Only cantrips. That is unfortunate. Alright. So, I'm going to bring in the Lightning Bolts in this matchup, and I'm going to drop 1 Sea Beyond, 1 Sleight of Hand, and a Pier. Just because I want to interact with some of their early game creatures, which mainly means Mana Dorks. I don't think I want Repeal or Echoing Truth. Blood Moon shouldn't be that big of a deal between Manamorphose and our couple of islands, but... Oh, I forgot to change the mana base. I was supposed to add another island over like a Spirebluff Canal. Simply for reason like this and Ghost Quarter. Alright, I'll play first. No blue mana, and we're holding Dramoka. I think I'm going to mulligan. The hand was like okay, but... Okay, I'm going to keep, put a Tarka back, and start Steam Vents tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest into an Arbor Elf. We untap, draw Serum Visions, play Scalding Tarn, fetch, get an island, cast Sea Beyond, shuffling back in a Spirebluff Canal, pass the turn. Hopefully they don't have Stone Rain, but if they did, we could still Manamorphose, or we can still cast Serum Visions at least. Opponent plays Klothys. Okay. We untap and draw Baral. Start Serum Visions. We draw Electromancer. Island to the bottom. Serum Visions to the bottom. Play Spirebluff Canal. Play Electromancer. Pass the turn. Hopefully that means our opponent has to spend mana interacting with our creature rather than interacting with our mana base. Once again, we don't care about our grave, so our opponent might have been inclined to bring in, they're like, oh, Storm, Gifts Ungiven, we need, you know, Grave Hate. Bloodbraid Elf cascades into Blood Moon. Alright, well we have an island at least. We could hit for 3, no blocks. Untap, we draw Serum Visions. So many Serum Visions. Play Baral. Manamorphose into blue. Serum Visions. Draw Steam Vents. Fiery Islet to the bottom. I have not played a land yet. Do I want to draw a Lightning Bolt here? It could matter. I don't think I actually want it though. Serum Visions. We draw Niv Mizzet. Another Manamorphose and a Sleight of Hand. So Sleight of Hand to the bottom, Manamorphose to the top. Play Steam Vents. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 2. So if one of our cost reducers survives, we can Ritual Manamorphose into Niv Mizzet, which would be pretty powerful. Opponent is going to exile Manamorphose, drain us for 2. They play Wooded Foothills. They play Utopia Sprawl. Okay, this animates Klothys. It's probably like an Elder Gargaroth, maybe? Renin 6. Okay. They go to combat. They attack us for 7. Sure. Take 7, go to 5. They pick up a land. They shoot us. Okay. We untap. We draw Manamorphose. So Splice Desperate Ritual. That was pretty sick. Manamorphose into blue. We get an Ironcrag Feat. Play Niv Mizzet. Desperate Ritual. Draw a card. Kill Arbor Elf. Ironcrag Feat. Draw Spirebluff. Shoot our opponent. Dragonstorm for lethal. Shoot our opponent. So we get Dramoka, Atarka, Kolagon, whiff, go to combat, kill our opponent. Hee gotcha. Did my opponent say anything about that? Alright. No adjustments, just run it back. Man, things were looking pretty bleak there. Niv Mizzet, super good. Alright, cost reducers, Manamorphose, and cantrips we'll keep. Opponent starts Windswept Teeth, cracks Windswept Teeth, gets a forest, Arbor Elf, we untap, draw Serum Visions, play Scalding Tarn, crack Scalding Tarn, get a basic island, Serum Visions, draw Spirebluff Canal, Spirebluff to the bottom, Desperate Ritual to the top, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a Wooded Foothills, cracks Wooded Foothills, gets a mountain, Blood Moon. Alright, we untap, we draw Desperate Ritual, play Spire Bluff Canal, and play Baral. Pass the turn, opponent bolts Baral, hits us for 1. We untap, draw another Desperate Ritual, play Fiery Islet, Serum Visions, draw Dragonstorm, Spire Bluff Canal to the bottom, third Desperate Ritual definitely to the top. And, if our Goblet Electromancer doesn't immediately get bolted, I think our opponent's going to be in huge trouble. Ah, Pillage. That is slightly problematic. Do we have enough to win here? So we Manamorphose into blue-red. Or we Desperate Ritual, get to 3 mana, Manamorphose into blue-red, play Electromancer, then we have 2 more Desperate Ritual. And that's not quite enough. Opponent only has 3 cards in hand. I think I'm going to try for it here. Okay, we draw Fiery Islet. So play Electromancer, play Fiery Islet. Can I splice? No, I'm 1 mana away from that. So I'm at 2, can go to 4, can go to 6. That's not quite enough. Alright, so we gotta pass. I should not have used that Desperate Ritual in that way. I should have just held on to it, because like if we got to the point where we could splice and then splice, we'd be fine. We don't actually need blue mana at this point. We just need mana in general, so I should not have used that Desperate Ritual, and this might be a punt that causes me to lose the game. Take a damage, we untap, we draw an island, which is very good here. Play an island, sleight of hand. Niv Mizzet, not really going to do it. We'll just take the Spire Bluff Canal. Spire Buff? Spire Bluff. 4 mana. Opponent picks up a land, untaps, plays a Gargaroth. Gargaroth has reach, so that's something we do need to be aware of. Untap, we draw Sleight of Hand. So 5 mana. I can spend 4 of it to get 6, which would take me to 7. Then I can Ritual once, which will take me to 8. Alright, Sleight of Hand. Take a Lightning Bolt. Pass the turn. I should not have used that Ritual, or we might have been able to kill my opponent here. They untap, go to combat. They hit us for a lot. I think if they make a beast, we bolt the beast. They draw a card. Alright, we'll take the 1 extra damage for 1 turn. I mean, any land or ritual, in theory, gets us to Dragonstorm. Actually, we might just bolt our opponent, because that might be the difference between lethal here. Cindervines. Alright, bolt our opponent. We just need a land. We get shot by Wrenn and 6. Opponent plays a Blood Moon number 2, and a land. We untap. That works too. So Desperate Ritual, splicing Desperate Ritual. We can't quite do a third one. Take a damage. Desperate Ritual, splicing Desperate Ritual. Take a damage. Desperate Ritual. Take a damage. Dragonstorm. Take a damage. So we get Dramoka, Atarka, Niv Mizzet, Kolagon. Go to combat. Attack with the Dragon Squad. So, one thing I want to point out, Cindervines would normally be like lights out for a Storm deck if you were trying to kill your opponent with Grape Shot. Especially being this low on life. You would have to find a Repeal or an Echoing Truth. We definitely got some advantage out of that. I think my opponent's going to gain life. They can't cast any spells, so they survived the first hit of the double strike. Alright, we got him. That worked out better than expected. I think I punted a little bit there, but I'm glad we took the match. Anyway, I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, round 3, here we go. This looks pretty much like the hand, so we're going to keep. Opponent starts Raugrin Triome. Play Steam Vents tapped, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Misty, cracks Misty, gets a Stomping Ground untapped. So this is looking like the Bant Snow deck, maybe? They play Wrenn and 6, uptick. We untap, we draw Sleight of Hand, play Spire Bluff Canal, play Baral, pass the turn. Opponent, I believe, is now reevaluating their strategy. They probably thought we were something else. Alright, we untap, we draw Manamorphose. They path Baral on our draw step. This is fine. Get an island. Go to our main. Sleight of hand, because I want to draw an island or a land of any kind here. Get a Fiery Islet. Play Fiery Islet. And I'm going to cast Sea Beyond. And I'm going to put back, I think, CB. Pass the turn. Put a Cracks Misty. Gets a Breeding Pool tapped. They untap. They pick up a land. They play Misty. I mean, if we draw like a Desperate Ritual, I'm pretty sure we can just combo off in response to a counterspell even. But that's if Goblin Electromancer resolves and they try and use removal on him. We untap, draw Steam Vents, start Serum Visions, another Manamorphose, Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual. Put these on top and we are going to try and go for it here. Play Electromancer. They could have a Cryptic. They're going to Spell Queller. Did I put both on top or did I put one on top? Hang on. Yeah, I put both on top. Alright, this is fine. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Misty, gets Temple Garden, passes. They pick up a land. They play Horizon Canopy into a Stoneforge Mystic, revealing Sword of Fire and Ice. They go to combat, hit us for 2. Alright, we untap, we draw Ritual. Manamorphose, red-blue, Manamorphose, red-blue. That's not good. Manamorphose, red-blue, play Electromancer, Pyretic Ritual. They crack Horizon Canopy to draw a card. Desperate Ritual, Ironcrag Feet, Dragonstorm. I should have actually sacked Fiery Islet to draw a card, but get Niv Mizzet, get a Tarka, get Kolagon. Fail to find, fail to find, fail to find, fail to find, fail to find. Sack Islet, ping our opponent. Go to combat, attack our opponent. Nice. Okay, defense grids in. What do we drop for defense grids? I think it's a Sea Beyond, Peer Through the Depths, Sleight of Hand, and the Sirvins. Try like that. Can't believe we could have been in trouble if our opponent had a path there, like a second one, because we drew Dramoka, which means we couldn't stop our opponent from casting spells on our turn, so the combo wasn't truly like unbeatable. But that may matter if our opponent like sees what happens. They might be like, oh yeah, he loses to removal, so I don't know how his deck is good. This looks like a fair start. We are going to keep. Opponent starts Misty Rainforest. We untap, draw Sea Beyond. Play Spire Bluff, go ahead and Sleight of Hand, pick up Dragonstorm. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent cracks Misty Rainforest, gets a Raugrin Triome, they untap. Kind of hope they like cast a Farseek or something here, or otherwise tap out. They play a Forest, they play Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, opponent gets a Sword of Fire and Ice, we untap, draw another Ironcrag Feet. Not really what we wanted, but... Play Defense Grid, pass the turn. We are almost to Dragonstorm mana, we are very close. So if my opponent plays a land and stays everything untapped, they may actually have the correct mana to Force of Negation on our turn through a Defense Grid. They play a tap land. If we draw a cost reducer, I think it's over. Okay, there's a Baral. So play Fiery Islet. Oh, we're 1 mana off. Alright, so Sea Beyond... Draw 2 cards, put back a Dragonstorm, pass the turn. Opponent puts Sword or Batterskull into play. Sword. They untap. We literally just need 1 ritual. Opponent equips Sword, hits us for 3. They shoot us for 2, and they draw a card. Yeah, literally 1 ritual, or I think a land, and it's game over. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, play out Baral, pass the turn. This is like the 1 card we absolutely cannot draw. Opponent plays a Plains. They play Noble. It looks like they're just trying to race us. I honestly want them to path me here. I think we need to draw a Sea Beyond. They play Renin 6. They pick up a land. They on Thin Ice. Okay, that's not path and doesn't provide the benefits that path does. So they're going to hit us for 5-6 damage and draw another card. We can Ritual and we can get all the dragons, but then we are in trouble because we don't have Kolagon. So we need to hit a like Manamorphose and into a Sea Beyond, I think. There's an Electromancer. It doesn't do it. So I can play Electromancer, Pyretic Ritual to 3, Iron Crag to 7, but then I can't do anything else. I'm going to cycle Fiery Islet and see what we get. Yeah, that's game. Okay. I think I'm going to drop a Sleight of Hand and bring our 4th Sea Beyond back in. So I really don't want that to happen again. We will be on the play, so hopefully, unless my opponent has Spell Snare, we'll be able to land a Defense Grid. We just need to have it in our opener. We'll play first. There's the Defense Grid. We'll keep. Our opponent mulligan to 6. They're thinking about the 6. They keep the 6. So we start Mountain. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Forest into a Noble. We untap. Draw Serum Visions. Play Fiery Islet. Play Defense Grid. Pass the turn. They do not attack us. We untap. Draw Electromancer. Cast a Sea Beyond. Putting back Defense Grid. Pass the turn. Well, with like 2 lands, we have the mana. Just need to draw some lands. Opponent fetches up a Raugrin Triome, then untaps. They play another Noble, and play a Temple Garden tapped. We untap. Draw another Defense Grid. Alright. Play Sea Beyond. We really need to hit lands. Put back Dragonstorm. Play Scalding Tarn. Fetch. Shock Steam Vents. Serum Visions. Another Dragonstorm. Dramoka Baral to the bottom. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Okay, opponent plays Omnath. Drawing a card. Fetch lands. Gain some life. Cracks a fetch land. For an island. Adds a bunch of mana. Plays Batterskull. That is not going to do it. They hit us for 2. We go to 12. Land a Ritual. So we play Electromancer. We Ritual to 3. Manamorphose to 4. Iron Crag for 3. Play Dragonstorm. Game over. No! No! Why? What? That's so stupid. Dragonstorm. Maybe our opponent concedes. We drew Koligon. Oh, it's so bad. And we had to Manamorphose to combo off, so there was like no way to avoid that or anything. Opponent gets a turn to do whatever. Maybe we need to have 2 Koligons in the deck. I don't know. 1 in 42 chance that occurs. I mean, it's technically a little bit higher than that because we scried some cards to the bottom. So it was technically like a 1 in 39 chance or something, but it shouldn't happen. Feels so bad. I mean, we get to draw cards and ping stuff if they cast anything, but... Oh, it's so terrible. I mean, if they attack, we'll throw Electromancer onto the bus, but... Yeah, if we'd even drawn any of the other dragons... except Atarka. If we had drawn Dramoka or Niv-Mizzet, or Niv-Mizzet, or however the hell it's pronounced. Somebody yelled at me for getting this wrong, but to me it looks like Niv-Mizzet. Anyway, it's a made-up name. Who cares? I can't speak regular English words good enough, alright? You can't be throwing words that's got V's and dashes and Z's at me and expect me to do well. Opponent may not have an answer. Opponent plays to Fairy. Bounces a Tarka. Plays a Horizon Canopy. Gains life. Paths Niv. So we draw a card. Ping down to Fairy. Oh, they path Dramoka. Alright, we will use Path's ability. Get an island. I mean, if I draw Manamorphose, I might be able to cast... Or if I draw, like, my other 2 Sea Beyonds right in a row. Okay, Exalted. We'll get hit for 6. Opponent gains 6 and goes up to 32. They sack Horizon Canopy. We untap. Draw Scalding Tarn. Ping there. Move to our main phase. Sack Fiery Islet. Draw card. Ping there. Play Scalding Tarn. Manamorphose. Draw card. Sea Beyond. Ping our opponent. Oh, actually, I did that wrong. Let's do red, blue, draw a card, ping Omnath. Fetch with Scalding Tarn, get an island. Sea Beyond, draw a card, ping Omnath. Draw 2 cards, put back a Tarka, ping Omnath twice. Then we ritual, draw a card, ping our opponent. Manamorphose, draw a card, ping our opponent. Can I just, like, ritual up to Kolagon? Or can I cast Dragonstorm and Kolagon in the same turn? That's too much mana. So we're going to continue as though we're just trying to storm. Ping our opponent. Pyretic Ritual. Draw a card. Manamorphose. Ping our opponent. Desper Ritual. Draw a card. Atarka. That's annoying. Manamorphose. Ping our opponent. Add black, green, defense grid. Ping our opponent. So Atarka is 7. We'd use a red, a green. We can leave red in the pool. But then I'd have to Ironcrag Feet. And I can only cast one more spell after that. I could cast Dragonstorm for 8, but I would get nothing. I would just draw a card and ping my opponent. I guess I Ironcrag Feet into Atarka. This is only instant or sorceries, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we gotta play Atarka. Okay. And we can Ironcrag Feet, draw a card. It's a Steam Vents, ping our opponent. And a bunch of mana. We'll cast Dragonstorm and just fail to find every copy. Ping our opponent. Alright. Okay, alright, okay, alright, okay, alright, okay, alright. Okay, alright, okay, alright, okay, alright, okay, alright, alright, okay, okay. Go to combat. Attack for 10 in the air. Discard Steam Vents, and that's it. Alright. Opponent untaps. I should have used some of those pings to kill the germ token. That was a mistake. Opponent has to answer Atarka, or they die. Whoo, boy! Oh, I'm so glad we won that match. That was much, much closer than I wanted it to be. I will see you all in round 4. Alrighty, round 4. Here we go. I had to record this later at night, and that's why I'm in my sweatshirt, because it's cold, and this is not really a good keep for this deck, so I'm going to mulligan. This is a lot better, and normally if this was a hand of 7... Yeah, I just gotta put back Niv-Mizzet. I can't have Niv-Mizzet in my opener like that, who am I kidding? Alright, opponent starts Colonnade. So we're probably going to have a bad game 1, I imagine. Alright, we get a second Desper Ritual. Crack, get Steam Vents, and Serum Visions. Draw another Electromancer. Okay, now I think we do keep Niv-Mizzet on top, because that is going to be our primary method of winning versus control, hopefully. Hopefully our opponent is going to see us playing like Electromancers and then have to like blow all their actual answers on those cards, and then Niv-Mizzet can come down relatively uncontested and be generally just nasty for a control opponent to have to deal with. So play Fiery Islet, play Goblin Electromancer, pass the turn. Not sure why the stack is all the way down there. Opponent mana leaks, we will not pay for it. Alright, opponent untaps. They draw a card. They play an island. They play Teferi. They're debating about whether to downtick or uptick. They downtick. We untap. Draw Pyretic Ritual. Well, pass the turn. If we ever draw Dragonstorm... Alright, opponent upticks Teferi. Cast an opt. Oh, sorry, that was a powerful sneeze. I'm glad I could mute in time. They play another Colonnade. We untap. They path Electromancer. We can't respond at instant speed. Get an island. We draw a Pyretic Ritual. Man, we really are just almost there, aren't we? Alright, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They opt. Uptick Teferi to 3. Play a Hollowed Fountain tapped. We untap. Draw Sea Beyond. Cast Sea Beyond. Okay, they allow it to resolve. We gotta put back Pier. I mean, we could still try and win with Dragonstorm, but we're gonna have to cast rituals to do stuff pretty much regardless. Alright, opponent upticks Teferi. Plays a Polluted Delta. We untap. We draw Spire Bluff Canal. Play Spire Bluff Canal. pass the turn. I think if I'm going to try and ritual, I'm going to try and ritual into Dragonstorm. It's just safer. Alright, opponent Snapcasters opt, probably. They opt. I mean, ideally, we want them to downtick to Fairy again. Okay, they untap. They go to combat. They attack us for 2. We take 2, go down to 13. They bounce Snapcaster. Play a Flooded Strand. We untap. Draw another Spire Bluff Canal. Play Spire Bluff Canal. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Gets an island. Cracks Flooded Strand. Or Polluted Delta gets an island. Flooded Strand gets another island. Cycles a big Shark Typhoon. Yep. Okay, they draw a card. They uptick to Fairy. They attack us for 5. We untap. Draw Steam Vents. Play Steam Vents. Untapped. And I guess we're just gonna go for it. Pyretic Ritual. Pyretic Ritual. Manamorphose. Red. Desperate Ritual. That's 9. We're gonna cast another Desperate Ritual just to be safe. We're at 10. Okay. Let's see a counter all the copies of this. Yeah, you didn't expect that, did you? Watch them just summary dismissal me, and like we get completely owned. Summary dismissal's a card that exiles everything on the stack. Alright, first Dragonstorm copy resolves, get Dragonlord Dromoka, opponent can no longer cast spells. I guess they can animate Colonnades. That's a thing that can happen. Get Kolagon. They could also cycle Shark Typhoons. We get a Tarka. They might actually be able to beat us here still, but a Tarka does have Trample. I'm really surprised my opponent did not try to Snapcaster Mana Leak anything early. They probably just thought we were going to go for a big gifts or something and win that way. Alright, fail to find. Go to combat. Attack them for a lot. They can animate a Colonnade and block, but that's all they can do. And it is not enough. That was pretty sweet. So I think it's time for some defense grids, and I'm going to bring in the other Niv-Mizzets. Niv-Mizzet, however you say that. I'm going to cut 2 Piers. I'm going to cut 1 Ironcrag Feat, 1 Sleight of Hand. I'm actually going to cut another Ironcrag Feat and another Sleight of Hand, and we're going to try it like this. Ironcrag Feat is important. Less so with Niv-Mizzets in the deck, I think. But yeah, we just had to wait them out. Because apparently they were just like, oh, we'll just counter the payoff spell. Because, you know, it's not like they're going to Grape Shot for 30 and kill me. It's just, I could counter spells before then. They'll need to Past in Flames at some point, right? Wrong! Dragons! It seems our opponent was suffering from a distinct lack of dragons. I don't know, a copious supply of dragons could rectify that. So, something I want to mention, I just thought of, I was gonna just skip to the game, but what you just saw is one of the advantages to this deck not being a meta deck, and that is my opponent played incorrectly because this deck appears to be a deck that it is not. There's a good chance my opponent will have sided in Rest in Peace for the same reason. Alright, so play Steam Vents, untapped, Serum Visions. We draw another Desperate Ritual, Serum Visions to the bottom, Spire Bluff Canal to the top. I do want to draw Spire Bluff Canal. We do need some number of lands. Alright, opponent plays a Colonnade. Well, they might have Spell Snare, but if they don't, we're resolving Defense Grid. If they have to blow force on this, that is a huge advantage in our favor. That's the other thing. Most players will expect a Storm deck to have counter spells out of the side. They pitch Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's kind of a desperation move. Our opponent is definitely trying to control from the back foot right now, which is pretty sweet for us. They play a Glacial Fortress. We untap. We draw a Manamorphose. So let's go ahead and cast Sea Beyond. And I'm going to put back probably the Serum Visions. And we'll play a Steam Vents tapped to pass the turn. The other thing I like about this deck is versus control decks, we can afford to play slow. Like, we don't have to like rush into a combo or anything. We can just sit back forever, charge up all the mana in the world. Because we only need a storm count of like 3 or 4 into 9 mana. That's it. So, the more defense grids we draw along the way, the better this gets. Okay, we get a Spire Bluff Canal. We'll play it. I am going to attempt to play an Electromancer here. We don't need a cost reducer to win, especially with multiple Desperate Rituals. But like I said, we're just trying to bait counter spells from our opponent right now. We don't even need cost reducers to win, potentially. They just make it so much easier. Alright, opponent plays a Hollowed Fountain. They've got 3 cards in hand, but we untap. We draw another Manamorphose. Honestly, at this point, play Baral. I don't think I want to give up Desperate Ritual to try and resolve Baral. My opponent does only have 2 cards left in hand. I guess multiple Desperate Rituals is a little bit difficult. So we'll cast Desperate Ritual. They either have to have another counterspell or they have to path, which gives us mana anyway. So pay for Mana Leak. Opponent Snapcaster's Mystical Dispute. Alright, they've only got 1 card in hand, though. And we have a bunch of Manamorphoses. And it's not like our opponent right now has a particularly fast clock. If they have an untapped land, they can start animating Colonnade, but then they are out of action. And I really think the correct move is to animate Colonnade here. Okay, they hit us for 3. We go down to 13. We draw Baral. Play Baral. Manamorphose. They're going to Force of Negation Manamorphose. That seems really desperate to stop us from doing stuff. I'm going to cast another Manamorphose. Can we get a Scalding Tarn? The question is, do I keep going? My opponent has no cards in hand. Their best play is Animate Colonnade and attack. We could block Snapcaster. I think it's much safer to just wait. I can't believe they threw a 3-mana counterspell on a Manamorphose. It was just a cantrip. Like, they are really playing scared. And like I said, even if they path Baral, we're really close to Dragonstorm. We just won't have a ton of time to do it. And they're not even going for Colonnade. They're just attacking us for 1. That's really impressive. Okay, we go down to 12. Oh man, and we have 3 Niv Mizzets in the deck. Like, if I just ritual into Niv next turn, they're gonna be real sad. Okay, we draw a Fiery Islet. We're getting clicked. Click me into Niv, I dare you. You'll regret it so hard. No? Okay. I'm gonna start by sacking Fiery Islet. We get a ritual. Okay, I'm gonna use Manamorphose to try and draw something. We'll go red. Damn. Oh, we're so close. Like, just Niv Mizzet would be enough. Opponent untaps and draws. They crack Polluted Delta. They get an island. Yeah, they're gonna do what they should have done 3 turns ago. They get in with all the flyers. We take 8. We're going to 3. Alright, come on. We just need like a really good Chain of Niv, or we really need Dragonstorm. Oh, heartbreak. Okay. Our opponent still hasn't seen Niv Mizzet. Like, we're still potentially in this. I do feel a little bit bad that we went so far down on cantrips, but I still think this is correct. I think this is the correct configuration. I could drop a Niv, and maybe we only want 2 and bring in a Sleight of Hand or a Pier. But this time we're going to be on the play, and we may be better able to land Defense Grid because of it. Which it seems like our opponent would have a very tough time answering. I'd like to play first. This is just the combo hand, so I guess we're going to try and keep it. I mean, the odds that my opponent has a force is very high, but we have a couple of turns to wait for them to do something if we need to. Otherwise, we could just, all in. Start Island, pass the turn. Opponent plays Island. We untap. Draw Niv Mizzet. Play a Mountain. Play Electromancer. I should have actually played Baral first. And it only matters because Baral is legendary and Goblin Electromancer is not. But not by a lot. Opponent plays a Colonnade. We untap. We draw Serum Visions. Play Baral. Baral resolves. Like, we have Niv, so like we have the backup plan too. If our opponent successfully drags this game out. They play Ashiok, so we can't search our deck. That's lame. Cast Serum Visions. We get a Steam Vents. Serum Visions on top. Scalding Tarn to the bottom. I think I keep the Serum Visions. We play Steam Vents tapped. Go to combat. Attack Ashiok. If opponent mills us with Ashiok, they just mill, I guess, a relatively irrelevant spell. We really just need 1 blue mana here. So Serum Visions. We draw another Baral. Dragonstorm to the bottom, Niv Mizzet to the bottom. Pass the turn. Turn off auto yields, attack Ashiok. Ashiok goes to 3. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Gets a Hollowed Fountain tapped. They untap. play a Flooded Strand. They pass. We untap. We draw a Desperate Ritual. Once again, we are so close. Our opponent is, like, technically dead to this hand, but we can't answer Ashiok because we don't have Bolt in this deck. So attack Ashiok. So my opponent is going to cycle for a Shark, and then we're going to play another Baral. Okay. Yep. We just need another non-Scalding Tarn blue land. So if our opponent paths Baral, I guess that does technically take us off because we'd need a cost reducer to get to Niv, but... Opponent plays Teferi, bounces Baral. Like, Manamorphose would also do it if Baral re-resolves. We untap and draw Electromancer. Play Baral. Opponent counters. Pass the turn. I'm going to be real disappointed if we can't get to Niv Mizzet, just because we can't draw lands. Opponent upticks Teferi. Plays Narset. That is actually a huge problem, because that means Niv doesn't do anything. Man, I'm really glad that they decided to put one-sided stacks cards in control colors on the hardest to interact with permanent type. Alright, pass the turn. I mean, if this becomes more common, we're going to have to start main decking bolts, because there's just nothing else we can do. I kind of hope my opponent downticks Narset. That'd be real nice of them. They play Polluted Delta. They play Big Teferi. Alright, I don't think we can beat 4 Planeswalkers. That's sad. They're gonna tuck the Electromancer. They downtick Narset. They picked up Force Negation. And we can't draw lands for the life of us. That's so frustrating. There's the Steam Vents a turn too late. Like, I can Ritual twice, but I can't Niv Mizzet because I'm missing a blue mana to do that. I shouldn't have shocked, but I'm very tilted by this right now. Opponent gets a Hallowed Fountain tapped. They play Colonnade. They've got Force, so I don't know why they wouldn't just animate Colonnade here, but I guess they could technically wait a turn. Also, they're untapping lands, so they should just activate Colonnade. The problem is, even if I resolve Niv Mizzet, I can't draw any additional cards due to Narset, so I'd have to make it all the way around to my next turn to do anything about that. And even if I did like play Niv Mizzet this turn, my opponent would just downtick Teferi to answer Niv Mizzet perfectly. So, alright, that's game. That's really frustrating, because we should have won that match. Like, we had game 2, but opponent just happened to draw the right cards. Alright, we got cost reducers, we got Dragonstorm, we got a Ritual. Against a Yorion deck. Hopefully they're inconsistent enough that we just combo them out both games. That'd be great. Okay, opponent starts Polluted Delta. We draw another Pyretic Ritual, which is great. Play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. So, unless they fetch a Hallowed Fountain here, we're probably gonna play Baral first. Does it matter, actually? Hang on. They play Misty, they crack Misty. They get a Steam Vents into a Renin 6. Alright. So fetch with Scalding Tarn, get a Steam Vents tapped. Pass the turn. Or pass through our opponent playing Renin 6. They pick up a land, we untap. We draw Manamorphose. Play Island. Does 2 versus 3 points of toughness matter here? I don't think so. I'm gonna just play Electromancer. Pass the turn. Hopefully they don't have any counter spells. They play Misty. They crack Misty. They get a Hallowed Fountain untapped. They play Teferi. Bounce Electromancer. Okay, we need a land. Manamorphose. Do they have Force, really? They force pitching Force. Alright. Pass the turn. Opponent upticks Teferi. Plays a land for Renin 6. Cracks it, gets a Watery Grave untapped. Black-white, they're playing Valky. They can exile a creature card we control. They get to see our hand and they know about Dragonstorm, so... I mean, if we can just untap a land, we, in theory, I think, combo off. They take Baral. They take Brawl because they can reduce the cost of their answers. We draw Sleight of Hand. Sleight of Hand. Opponent mana leaks because they know we have no answer, and we need a land so desperately. Pass the turn. I want to see some more counterspell hate in this format. Not like answer that's so good, or not like threat that's so good counterspells can't answer it, but like more ways to interact with counterspells. It's a delicate balance. I'm just complaining. Opponent attacks us with Valky, we untap. Draw Spire Bluff Canal. Play Electromancer. Play Spire Bluff. See Beyond. Put back Metamorphose. Pass the turn. Oh, never mind. They're going to alt Ren in 6, so it doesn't matter. They fetch an island. They cycle Triome. Yep. They make Baral. They untap. They alt Ren in 6, so now they have infinite force of negations. They uptick to Fairy. They bolt our Electromancer. They play a land. They go to 7. They play a new Ren in 6, so they at least have a force of negation. They hit us for 1. God. That's fun. I don't want to be on tilt. I want to play fun games of Magic. I want to jank out really good decks with hilarious ones like this. So we're going to bring in Defense Grid, dropping Iron Crag Feet, Sleight of Hand, Pier, Sleight of Hand. Do we need to be able to answer Damping Sphere? Maybe. We could bring in Niv Mizzet. That would be very difficult for our opponent to be able to answer. I'm going to drop another Iron Crag Feet, and I'm going to drop, I guess, a See Beyond this time. Let's try that. Alright, I'd like to play first. Alright, we'll try this. So we'll start Scalding Tarn, fetch with Scalding Tarn, get a Steam Vents untapped, and Sleight of Hand. I'll take a Steam Vents. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn, passes. We draw an island, play Electromancer. Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn. They've either got a Mystical Dispute or a Bolt. It's a Bolt. Alright, they untap. They play a Misty. Pass the turn, we draw. Baral. Play Steam Vents, untapped. Play Baral. Play See Beyond. I'm going to shuffle back Serum Visions. Pass the turn. If Baral were to somehow survive, and he's not, but if he were to, next turn potentially we could just Ritual out Niv Mizzet, the Perrin. They fetch up a Temple Garden, untap. They play Field, we untap, draw Fiery Islet, play Fiery Islet, play Defense Grid. Opponent mana leaks. We will Pyretic Ritual in response. Pay for mana leak. Resolve Defense Grid. If we draw another Ritual, Niv Mizzet comes down next turn. They play Teferi. They bounce Defense Grid. We untap and draw Electromancer. Play Steam Vents tapped. Play Defense Grid. They could have Force. They don't. Play Goblin Electromancer. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Upticks Teferi to 2. Aether Gust. Put Electromancer on the bottom, we don't need it. That's an Aether Gust not going on Niv Mizzet. Play Sleight of Hand. Take Fiery Islet. Play Fiery Islet. Pass the turn. Opponent upticks Teferi to 3. We untap. We draw Serum Visions. Cast Niv Mizzet. The only spell my opponent could play right now is Force, so they have to let this resolve. They probably have to just Teferi bounce to try and keep it off the board, unless they path on their turn. What? Oh, you're gonna field me? Alright, get a mountain. They get rid of Fiery Islet so we don't, like, start drawing extra cards, it looks like. Opponent bounces Niv Mizzet. Niv Mizzet. They play Teferi, they bounce Defense Grid. Then they have to discard. We untap. Draw Baral. Play Niv Mizzet. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They uptick to fairy. They abundant growth to draw a card. They play Rest in Peace, which does literally nothing for them. Nice! Love the miss sideboarding. It's stuff like that that really you can leverage. Now, I mean, we're probably winning because my opponent did not, there's not a lot my opponent can really do at this point. Like, they didn't draw lands and all kinds of other stuff. Play Serum Visions. They just can't beat Niv. They used their only Aether Gust and then just could not beat Niv. And they, like, even if they do Aether Gust Niv, like, what then? We get to draw a card and put Niv on top of the deck. Like, they have to Aether Gust him as he's cast, and it's just a remand. Like, oh, that was brutal. I love it. All right, opponent gets to go first. I mean, triple Desperate Ritual Dragonstorm is really hard to pass up, especially with a cantrip to help filter our hand here. So, opponent starts Breeding Pool, probably Abundant Growth. Yep. All right, we untap. Draw Defense Grid. Perfect. Now all we need is a cost reducer. Serum Visions, I'd also accept lands. Manamorphose is fine, but put Fiery Islet on top of our deck. Pass the turn. I hope they tap out for Wrenn and 6 and don't have a force. They play Field. We untap. We draw Fiery Islet. Play Spire Bluff Canal. Play Defense Grid. Okay, opponent mana leaks. That's a mana leak we don't have to worry about. It's something that, like, I want to bring up again. Like, when the top decks are trying to cast a million counterspells, a Defense Grid is worth, like, 4 counterspells. It's just like, if it resolves, you win. Alright, we are going to attempt a Brawl. Alright, well, I assume they have removal, but Manamorphose. They crack Polluted Delta for a Hollowed Fountain. Force a Negation Manamorphose. Alright. I don't know what's in my opponent's hand, but that feels desperate. Alright. Cast Desperate Ritual. Cast Desperate Ritual. Cast Desperate Ritual. Dragonstorm you? For lethal? I could have technically cast Sea Beyond, but something could have gone wrong. They didn't even see this game one, right? They just played a whole bunch of stuff and we lost to it? Wow, alright. Dragonlord Dramoka, you lose. Dragonlord Atarka. One of our, well, I guess, yeah, we'll get Niv Mizzet. Rub salt in the wound. And then we'll go get Dragonlord Kolaghan. Go to combat. Well, we 3-2'd again. This deck is better than it looks, and it allows you to take advantage of the modern metagame if you know what you're doing. We're going to open up our treasure chest, get 5 play points, a Kolvori, God of Kinship promo, and a Skyclave Relic. Let me open up this deck list again, and I'll talk about it for a moment before I log off night. Find out where I put it. I don't think I cast a Peer Through the Depths that entire game, or that entire league. I suspect it's still pretty good. There's an argument that maybe you want to drop Peer Through the Depths, go back up to 4 Ironcrag, or go back up to 4 Dragonstorm. 3 Dragonstorm still feels correct to me, though. And I'm still 100% on the Defense Grid plan. Because when there's so many decks that are trying to cast, like, oh, I got a bunch of counterspells. Oh, I got Mystical Dispute, especially Mystical Dispute. Where they're like, oh, he's playing blue spells. We're going to get him with the 1 mana leak. And then you're like, Defense Grid. And they have 2 mana and they're holding a Mystical Dispute. And they look at it and they go, God, I wish this was a mana leak. And then you just get them because then they can't cast spells on your turn anymore. And it's so good. I think, like, the only thing that really needs tweaking is, like, we need to have, like, slightly different ratios of certain cards, I feel. The current list is very strong. I really like Niv Mizzet Perrin. I'm happy to be playing 3. It completely just wins us a game against the Orion deck. Like, card is, like, unanswerable for the Orion deck. They have to have Path, and you still get a card out of it, even if they do. Like, and then that's why we're running 2 more out of the sideboard, because it's like, okay, you pathed 1. I've got 2 more. And I still have a combo finish to this deck. And Niv Mizzet himself is a combo finish to this deck, because I'm pretty sure early on in this league, we just cast Niv Mizzet, cast 40 rituals, and just ping down everything, and we're like, what are you going to do about it? We once again, we saw so many opponents siding in Grave Hate. the control player we should have beaten. We got very close to beating them, especially because in game 1 they were holding onto a counterspell. They had a Snapcaster, they had a Mana Leak, and if they had disrupted any of our rituals, we wouldn't have made it to Dragonstorm. But the average control mindset for regular Storm, because the meta is not adapted to this deck, is to counter the Gifts Ungiven, counter the Past in Flames, counter the Haymaker spell that gives them all the cards they need. And we don't have that. We have the Storm card. And if we cast the Storm card, we win. Because there's no way they're going to have enough counter spells for all of the copies of Dragonstorm, unless it was like Ironcrag Feet into Dragonstorm and they have 2 counters. That's the only time that's going to happen. And the deck just feels super sick. I think that without this mana base, you could probably play this as a budget deck. I think the entire list is like $50 or something to play like that without the lands. And there's even like the budget, like you could play the Pain lands. There's a couple of other budget blue-red duels, like you could play Cascade Bluffs, and you could play Sulphur Falls, and there's a few other ones that you could be playing that would work just fine. In fact, I am thinking that we actually should be cutting Scalding Tarn entirely. And the reason that I'm thinking about cutting Scalding Tarn is I am really tired of running into Ashiok. I am really tired of running into Leonin Arbiter. I am really tired of running into all of this search hate, specifically for Scalding Tarn and other fetch lands, that honestly, I just want to play Shivan Reef. This land's good. So the next time I play this list, that is at least happening. We could cut down to 2 Baral and go up to 4 Electromancer. The only time that that's going to matter is if you're playing against Blitz and they happen to have a Burst Lightning instead of a Lightning Bolt, which is an extremely narrow circumstance. I guess also Lava Dart would kill Electromancer over Baral. So maybe the 3-3 split on that's still correct. Sideboards seem fine. Repeal Echoing Truth, kind of awkward, but I think is still necessary. These Tormod's Crypt should be something else. I'm not sure what, though. There is some notion... Oh, yes, now I remember what I was going to say. Do I actually have enough of them? I do have. I'm going to cut Spirebluff Canal because I'm tired of that land coming in tapped, and I'm actually going to run Gemstone Mine instead. My logic behind this is... And keep in mind, this is absolutely not budget, because I think this land is actually really expensive. It was the last time I checked, but that was a while ago, and I don't have time to right now. The only thing about Gemstone Mine is it's going to allow us to potentially cast Dragonlord Kolagon, Atarka World Render, or Dragonlord Dromoka without having to Manamorphose, which I think is actually quite the big deal. And it's possible with 4 Gemstone Mines in this list. I mean, maybe even I play like City of Brass or something like, or Mana Confluence, some more rainbow lands, because like we could actually get to the point where we're playing stuff like Veil of Summer in the sideboard, which might help make the sideboard less awkward. I could play Silence. There's a ton of stuff that I could play. I think this configuration is slightly better than the one that I played for this league with this mana base. I think you're less likely to make a mistake with a mana base like this. I also probably think we should sneak in another island. The only issue that we're going to have with this mana base is if we run into Blood Moon, we don't have Scalding Tarns to fetch our basics. But we also don't really need blue all that much, because we just need to cast a couple of rituals to get to Dragonstorm and win. It's definitely worth playing with. I tend to do more experimentation with it, but I'm going to take a break from playing this deck for a little bit. I didn't intend to play it today. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I had a different deck queued up, recorded a whole league with it, and then found out that the recording crashed midway through match 2, so I had nothing to show for it, which is fine because the league was like super suboptimal. I went like 1-4. The deck was fun. It just like didn't feel good, and I don't think it would have made for good content. So I'm not too upset about having to re-record this, but it did take a lot more time out of my day. So I would really appreciate it if you watched this far into the video, if you left a like, dropped a comment, subscribe to the channel if you were so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch, same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. And yeah, hope to see you there. The link to our Discord is in the description below. You should jump on in. We do a lot of there's a lot of crazy shenanigans. It's kind of like my Twitch chat, but every day of the week, and we do some brewing. And I'm hoping to get a user moto tournament with like some jank rule set up and going in the near future. I have just been too pressed for time between working a full-time job and playing Magic and doing YouTube is my hobby. I'm not even to monetization yet, so yeah. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!